Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy. 4 nerds by nerds. Hang out with these nerds.
Scott Garibay.
I'm Ted.
And today we are going to be talking about Guild Ball and your D&D game.
Why don't you jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So my first exposure to Guild Ball was recently. You had shared a link in Nerdarchy's private Facebook group.
Yeah.
For the
Company
fans.
of the Nag, yeah.
Yeah, and so I checked it out and all. So it's basically fantasy sports. And like they have like all kinds of rosters, whole seasons, and all kinds of games going on. And it's even more just talking to you now. It's even more in depth than I realized.
Yeah,
because there was a
absolutely.
lot of information there, and I kind of just like perused it a little bit.
Yeah, so the reason we're bringing it to you is if you're a Dungeons and Dragons fan, Guild Ball is a fantastic, completely free resource. So right now, Guild Ball is one of many tabletop strategy battle miniatures games, right? Mm-hmm. Now, tabletop strategy battle miniature games are very expensive and they're challenging, and there's a lot of barriers to market. It's like you have to spend hundreds of dollars often. You have to spend a lot of time painting, but I keep getting sucked back into them because more and more the worlds surrounding them are extremely immersive, and so I started reading on this one. And Guild Ball is a fantastic resource for Dungeons and Dragons. One of the things, their entire rule book, is 70 pages, full color, fully free, 100% downloadable from the site.
But not only that, you said off air that you can actually print out the paper pawns and use them to play the game. So you could get involved in this today
without a
for
penny
a zero.
spent.
Yep.
Exactly.
Other than printing out,
Yep.
you can read the rule book on your digital device and just pay the cost of the printing on the paper and play this game.
Yeah, which is really exciting. And then here's the part and also I've never seen that with any tabletop strategy battle miniatures game ever. Not one. Like Warhammer will freak out if you even hint at like copying their minis, And this company's giving out the whole ball of wax. But the biggest thing for a D&D player is a 70-page, full-color, multiple fiction stories. Each character, and there's no less than 15, 20 beautiful motivation, everything, non-player characters ready to go, right? And then in addition to that, there's in-depth history on every single one of the guilds. So, Ted, do you want to take us through who are the guilds that are in there?
We have the guilds of the Alchemist Guild, the Brewers Guild, the Butchers Guild, the Engineers Guild, the Fisherman's Guild, the Hunters Guild, the Masons Guild, the Morticians Guild, and the Union. So I'm guessing, because I'm not familiar with Guild Ball. Literally, when you started talking about this today, this is my first exposure. Are these the teams?
Right.
Or,
exactly.
Okay. So like, I would say that this would be an awesome resource to put into a D&D game because it adds a whole new element that, from my years of experience at the table, has never really happened. And that's really to add the fervor and
excitement,
the excitement of the local sports team that people like to follow.
Right.
Into your fantasy game.
I'm really hurt, Ted. I'm really hurt. Come on, the most famous, famous game.
Rat Ball. Oh my God! But Rat Ball was just with the kobolds. It's not like Rat Ball. It's spread to Griffin Gap.
It's gonna grow. You just wait. It's gonna catch on.
Rat Ball's gonna catch on. It's gonna be there. It's like the XFL.
Yeah. So, like, what you could clearly have, like, nobles following particular teams, and it's like, oh, well, did you know that Lord Griffinface over here actually is supporting the Engineers Guild? And now all of a sudden people begin to sway in that direction because this person here is showing his physical support by wearing an emblem or a crest on his
exactly.
Attire and what have you. And you've got a couple different ideas to talk about in here in regards to how to use this in your game. The number one, as you said, the rules are out there and they're free. So you could literally take a break in the middle of your session and get involved in a game.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, like, what happens if the players are approached and it's like, look, our star players are down. We need these 4 positions filled. Can you step in as yourselves? And you literally go onto the field and play this
brilliant.
game.
I didn't even have that idea. And you could do it with a very minimal, just the cost to print the minis. You're exactly right.
You just step
That's
in.
a brilliant idea.
You step in
within the game.
Yeah.
And you step in and you have as you said, the game within the game, and these players are involved. And you've got the extra set of rules to do it. You have the ability to look at what kind of politics happen with those NPCs that are involved. Okay, do the star players, which could again be your PCs, are they getting special treatment around town because they're these stars? Are they getting negative treatment from a rival city when they visit there because
exactly.
You're this person that I don't like, and last week you whipped our butts, and what have you. So like there's so much that you can do with this.
Well, yeah, and
Totally
you could have other things. Black market spring up for enhancements.
Exactly.
Whether they're legal or illegal, you can determine that. You can have, a match fixing going on.
All that
So
gambling.
there's adventures and everything that could go. Spring up
think of bringing football to your Dungeons and Dragons game, and the way the game is built, it's football with crossbows and swords and fireballs. You're like, that's crazy, because football's already a pretty cool game, and throwing all that in the mix, it is really, really interesting. And so it's very exciting. It's really a low barrier to market. D&D players can take a look at it. If they like it, you can do as little as what you're saying, where you're running one game, and it's a really unique encounter for that game. Or if you really got into it and the players got into it, that's a mini campaign, right there, just waiting to be told. Now, I had a few other ideas on how to use Guild Ball. One of the things is, when I looked at this, and I'm like, alchemist, brewer, butcher, engineer, fisher, the fishers, the hunters, the masons, and the morticians, I was like, that is a town. If you think about that, you can think, okay, what is the town they're going into? Which of these forces affect that town? And you could literally use, and you could print this off. It's just all the icons, and you could say these guys are here and these guys are here, and that's it. And you could do that for each town, and it's really fascinating. And you could just make notes to yourself. And with that one little visual, you could bring towns to life in a new way.
I look at it as, well, it's a nice idea to use these kind of icons. I don't know. I'd be more in flavor to be like, all right, today we're gonna have the dragons versus the owl bears.
Yeah.
And you have these fantasy icons that are so used to D&D incorporated within it, because it's like, all right, who wants to watch the mortician fight the fisherman?
Yeah.
I'd much rather see the Umber Hulk facing the Displacer Beast.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And so what I was saying is, you're absolutely right. So you have this idea of, I can put this sports into my game. Let's say you go to get Guild Ball and you go, you know what, my guys, they're really not sports people. I don't think they're gonna connect with the sports aspect. You should still, as a DM, be connecting to Guild Ball, because if you look at what Guild Ball has done, is they've taken a look at D&D towns and saying, these are the forces that make up that town. These are the political pillars that the thread is.
Here's the bridge, right? Here's
the
the bridge, right? The Hunters Guild is actually the guild that sponsors the Owlbear team. It may be the Alchemist Guild that sponsors the dragons.
Right.
That's how you would actually do it.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways to do it. Now, I had a quick question for you guys, and I'm curious if you think so. We've all made D&D towns. We've all brought our players into D&D towns. Are there any specific mercantile interests that are missing here?
You said it right there. Merchants.
The merchants.
There's nothing in here that says merchants.
The merchant at the level of merchant.
There's
the
Masons Guild, which I'm guessing is supposed to incorporate the Smiths.
Right.
But
yeah.
typically, like,
but shopkeepers, guys who own shops in towns,
Absolutely.
and then take the goods from the masons and from the woodsmen and even from the brewers and sell them in their shops. The merchants are a missing faction.
and
That's true.
I would go so far.
Like some of them are a little odd, like the Morticians Guild and the Union.
the
Union I'm
is a
saying
little
is a soldier.
abstract.
I would say that's your soldiery.
Oh, interesting.
That's
yeah.
what I would take away from that. And then, rather than having a cross sword and shield, it was the fist, and that's the way I looked at it. So I would add the merchants, and I would add the nobles.
Right, and to your point, now that I think about it, I see the issue of the morticians are challenging to believe, because when you go into a town, how many morticians are there? 1 or 2 guys are usually going to do that job. You're not going to have 20 dudes, and so thinking of the morticians at that high level, Guild Ball probably added them in for that goth feel, which totally makes sense. But I agree with
It
you.
also
they would
depends
be a
upon
smaller
what kind
force.
of cityscape you're looking at. If you're familiar with our Nerdarchy gameplay videos, we've done a contrast between Griffin Gaff and Dralek.
Yeah.
Dralek is huge, so I would imagine if Griffin Gaff has 1 or 2, there's probably at least 20 in Dralek.
Or the Morticians Guild could actually be a coalition of all the religions, and each religion has 1 or 2 guys from the church that actually does the preparation of the bodies.
Yeah. Right.
So that's where you could get a Morticians Guild from. And the nobles would not have their own guild, because usually the noble owns one of the guilds, and being a noble isn't like the thing. There's many paths to being a noble.
That's true.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
true.
How did they make their money?
Well, I was looking at it as like the old money, the people who literally they've got so much that they just are a noble, and whatever they feel like.
No, there's controlling interest that keeps the money flowing.
Well, I started watching Downton Abbey because my wife loves it, and to your point, there was a period where there were these nobles who really felt like you just have money and you keep compounding that money, and you have people who do that work, but having an occupation is actually grotesque. Exactly.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. But they would still be affiliated with where the money's coming from.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They're not morticians. They just own them.
Right, yeah, and how they link to them.
I see both sides of it.
They're not doing the fishing. They just own the boats the fishermen fish from, is kind of the deal. So with that, how would you guys add a game like Guild Ball to your game? I'm going to put in the description below links to Guild Ball so you guys can check it out for free. Download to your heart's content, and let us know if you're going to use it in your D&D game. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check out funny memes over on Facebook.
Indeed.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.